Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Coffee with Connect. Did you know we get together on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30? We get into God's Word, and we have our coffee. And today's mug is it's just a simple Starbucks mug from Texas. It just says Texas. Lincoln picked this one out for me today, and so yeah, no real story behind it other than just I got it in Texas, and I have some friends and family that live down there, so hello to them. We are going to be in the book of Judges today. We're going to go Old Testament. I know we haven't done too many of these episodes in the Old Testament, and so we're gonna correct that here. So because there's just as much life-giving and inspiring and daily knowledge and godly wisdom in the Old Testament, and also from a very different perspective, which we need. So we're going to go through our 5-step process here of pray, read, think, write, do, and it works with basically any passage, and the idea of keeping us up on the chair as we're walking our faith out daily, and getting in God's Word and being honest about what His Word says to us can help us stay up on that chair, if you will. That metaphor that I love to use about our life, our Christian walk, being up on a chair, and what are we doing to keep us up there? Who are we surrounding ourselves with, and are we in God's Word as well? So let's read. We're in Judges chapter 6. Judges chapter 6, verses 36 through 40. And I'm in the NIV, and this is the story of Gideon. You may or may not have heard the story of Gideon. We're not going to go through the whole story. I want to just look at one little aspect of it here in these verses. So let me read this here. Gideon said to God, "If you will save Israel by my hand, as you have promised, look, I will place a wool fleece on the threshing floor. If there is dew only on the fleece, and all the ground is dry, then I will know that you will save Israel from my hand, as you said." And that is what happened. Gideon rose early the next day. He squeezed the fleece and wrung out the dew, a bowl full of water. Then Gideon said to God, "Do not be angry with me. Let me make just one more request. Allow me one more test with the fleece, but this time make the fleece dry and let the ground be covered with dew." That night God did so. Only the fleece was dry, and all the ground was covered with dew. So, as I mentioned, there's more to this story, but he's asking for signs to confirm God's word from God. And Gideon had a weak and imperfect faith. And as I'm thinking about this, so do we. And I would even call his faith a circumstantial faith in this. And we have that kind of faith as well. If we're being honest, I can very much have a circumstantial faith with God. And think about this. He was dictating terms to God in a lot of ways. Like, what? But we do that sometimes, don't we? Gideon didn't keep his word either. He even said, "Okay, God, if you do this, then I'll know this is what you want me to do." And he's like, "Okay, but also do this." And he does this other times as well. He went back on his word even after God fulfilled and did what he asked. He went back on his word again. So what about you? Is there something that you can write down with this that maybe impacts you, that speaks to you in terms of maybe how you've been with God and in the past, or maybe currently? And then what do we do with it? What's our action step with this? Well, first of all, let's not be too critical of Gideon or ourselves, quite frankly, because if we were in the position that Gideon was in here, I don't know how many of us would not immediately refuse the request from God, because God was asking Gideon and his army to save Israel, and the odds were impossible odds, humanly speaking. And if you're very much like a realist like I am, I would be looking at, the math here in this battle and saying, okay, Lord, boy, I don't know. But you know what? This is probably why God was so patient with him. That's also why God is patient with us. He knows how we think or don't think at times, and he's so patient with us more than we deserve. That's for sure. He puts up with our demands because, in a manner of speaking, we do the same thing to God here that Gideon does. But Gideon's weak faith is better than no faith. And so I would encourage you in that regard. Even a little bit of faith can go a long way, and it's better than no faith. And so I hope that whatever it is, wherever you are right now in your journey, in your life, whatever you're going through right now, have faith in God, because if the story isn't over, then God isn't finished. So keep that in mind. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that you'll like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video if you feel led that way, and join me again next time so we can have our coffee and connect to Christ, community, purpose, and God's Word together.